Hello again, this is devlog number 2, and in this video I'll just explain the difficulties I had with the player movement system, because if as you can recall, I used to use 2 buttons to move the mage on the forest stage, and 4 buttons for the placeholder room stage. And so now I moved on and I switched to a joystick controller, and I'm just gonna explain my thought process on it and how I got it to work. So as a beginner, I did like everyone would, and I just looked up the video, and this video that Brackis did was perfect, well, kinda, because it showed the joystick pack asset on the asset store that I could later use, and he showed me some basics with this video about how to write code with the joystick itself. The only downside is that he just explained how to move in a platformer type game, where you can only move left, right, and then jump, but the jumping isn't controlled by the joystick. And so I had to figure out how to make it so I could control the joystick also up and down, because this is a 2.5D game, or a top-down game. And so I also made the animations for the mage. I don't think I will modify them. And so yeah, the problem that I've encountered myself with is that in the video, Braki explains how to actually code it, and so I coded it in a similar way. If we imagine this as the joystick itself, and then this as the axis, the basic program just detected that if the player reaches a certain threshold, like a sensitivity threshold, the joystick will start to work. And so in this part of the joystick, it will move right, and on this part it will move left. The problem I had is that I added 2 more thresholds, because my game is top down, and so these zones right here interfered with each other. And so because I first wrote the lines of code of these 2 sides, these sides right here were just being ignored by the vertical input, and the joystick was only responsive like this way. It wasn't like 45 degrees, it was like 20 degrees on this side, and so you had a lot of space to move right and left, but so little space to move up and down. And so my solution to it was just to draw a imaginary line that would go across, like on the middle of the two axes, where y equals to x. And so I made it so that the thresholds previously mentioned. Let me draw them. Kinda badly drawn, but you get the point. These thresholds made it possible, well, these lines made possible the fixing of the problem, because I just had to detect when the joystick was at this specific section and at this one, and yeah, these ones too. And so I made it so when the joystick is inside these regions, the player would either move right or left, and when the joystick is positioned in these regions, the player would move up and down. I basically made it so that this region here is above the y 0.3, that is the threshold I set, and this is also when y is smaller than x, because all the sides right here is when y is greater than x, and this side is where x is greater than y. And so I made it into absolute value so that it would mirror on the other side. So this side is also y greater than x, and this side is also x greater than y. If I would have made it in absolute value, the program would detect this region as y greater than x and this region as x greater, but you get the point, And so here's the final result. I'm trying to make it so that it's the closer to 45 degrees, so you can see. And now I'll just pause it and I'll show you the well, I'm not gonna pause it now that I think about it. I'm just gonna Control Z everything until it shows the previous code. Okay, this was the code I used. And so now we will see the problem, where I'm trying to, you can see here it surpasses this line right here, but it still doesn't change positions, and so it does when it's nearly vertical. I made this video so if someone has a similar problem, he can or she can understand it better. And so you guys let me know if you like these kinds of videos. I'm just making them to show you what I do and my thought process. So you guys tell me if you wanna see some more programming or like art stuff in the next devlog. See ya.